old enough to have a REX program yet, and yet we have one. I had 9 kids show up today to make masks at the craft day. That will disappear. You're getting a survey from the Park and Recs department in the mail. That survey will consist of several activities that people have mentioned they want. Who's going to provide those services? I can't do it without the backing of the city. I don't have the financial means. How many of you have the financial means to maintain 10,000 square feet of sod? Just something to think about.
My name's Howard Ashby. I want everybody to understand that I have never been for dis-incorporation of this town. I am standing up now because I think we have to reconsider what we did in establishing the government the way we set it up. The reason I come to that conclusion is because of personal experiences, which may not be yours. My experiences are when we had this, excuse me, I've got asthma and something in this building is really getting to me. My experiences were trying for 5 years to find out how it was the road base from the old highway was transferred to Cocopelli without any paperwork. Having the city tell me the county did it, having the county tell me no way. If there's no paperwork, I understand that's a crime. And yet there's been no investigation. That bothers me. When we had the special district election, I was one of those who submitted the letters against it because I believed that we could set up the water companies by them ourselves as a town and we didn't need a special service district, so I opposed it. My vote disappeared. I have no idea how many other votes disappeared.
Did you give that letter to me?
We've gone over this.
Just be honest so everyone knows.
Okay, there was a stack, we all handed them in together. I did not personally hand it in. I was told by one of the town commissioners afterwards that the letter had been turned in, but that Rick had decided it was not a letter in opposition. Now, that town commissioner is here now. We have ordinances written so that people who have signs that somebody doesn't like, that have a storage shed that somebody doesn't like, are booked into jail. I didn't think we did that in America. If you don't like somebody's sign, and there's a legal reason for it, then you issue them a warning and you explain to them why that sign isn't appropriate. You don't arrest them, you don't have them booked into jail. I didn't think we did that in America, but apparently the way we've written the ordinances in this town, that is legal and acceptable. I think that has to be changed. For these reasons, and for the fact that our city government doesn't seem to believe this is wrong, I think we need to dissolve this town, sit down, look at what we did wrong, write up new compacts, and as soon as we can do it legally, form a new community.
How long is that going to take?
How long did it take the first time?
I don't know. I wasn't here. How long is it going to take?
And how many people are going to volunteer on your side to do that?
To do what?
Set up a new community.
Restart all over again.
Why would it have to be my side? Why wouldn't it be all of us?
Sounds like
Okay.
you're creating a side.
Let me back up for a moment.
If you don't like something going on,
This
you
is
need
one
to
of the
do it.
things I really hesitant to stand up here.
Excuse me for just 1 minute, okay?
Would you let me finish and you can make a comment?
Just 1 minute.
Let me finish and you make your comment. Let me finish and then let...
We're not going to banter back and forth tonight. If you have
Why
something
are
to
you
say, we're going
interrupting
to
me?
allow you to come up and say
Just
it.
stop us.
And if you have a question, we'll ask the question, okay? Thank you.
Are you done, sir?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. If I'm wrong, if what they're doing is acceptable to you, then of course you're going to vote not to disincorporate. But if that kind of high-handedness is offensive to you, then I hope you'll vote to disincorporate. issue is that we did something wrong in setting up the ordinances, that we criminalize this petty behaviors. And I want you to notice how arbitrarily these ordinances are enforced. You drive around town and look how many people violate half a dozen ordinances. And I don't want any of them cited for it, unless it's a real health or safety issue. And then I want them to get a warning and have a chance to correct it, not be booked into jail. That's my comment.
I want to make one comment to that. I heard a lot of that information. The only way I agreed to speak is if I could have documentation. If I could see the ordinances, if I could see the laws. I did my homework. I have it in proof. What I have said, and there's so much more I could have said, is all in here because I asked for the information. I'm not relying on hearsay and rumor and innuendo and maybe this happened and maybe that happened. I looked for all the documentation. I challenge, where is the documentation to show what you were saying?
Dennis Smith, 821 West Smithsonian Way. Mr. Ashby's right. We do live in America. We have the opportunity to vote. We have an opportunity to vote on this in court, whether we stay in town or not. But we also have an opportunity to vote elected officials. That happens every 4 years. If we don't like what's happening in our town, we'll put people up that have the same philosophies you have and elect them. This town council was elected by the majority of this people. And until their term is up and until they're elected, we need to support them. Now, we don't have to agree with them, and we may not. But if we have to go through this turmoil every 2 years because somebody doesn't like what's happening in the town government, we will never be a community. I may not agree with some of the things that Mr. Mosier's doing, or Mr. Black, or Mr. Kingsley, but they were elected by a majority.
Volunteers.
And they volunteer their time. They're not, they may get a little stipend for travel or something like that, but for the majority of the work they do, they put in hours. Now, if you have an objection to what's happening, voice your objection in a town council meeting, or a planning meeting, or a water district meeting. That's democracy. But to say we're going to dissolve every 2 years or put it before the people to dissolve instead of supporting the elected officials is wrong.
Good evening. My name is Gary Well, and I live in Smithsonian Way. I didn't come here planning on saying anything, but a couple thoughts came to my mind, and I'd like to get them out. One of them is, I'm sure that most of the people in here have seen the videos on YouTube about dis-incorporating our community, and anybody that doesn't live in Apple Valley and they read the comments that are posted below it would think we're a bunch of ignorant animals. Those people that have read it, absolutely disgusting, some of the comments people have put in there. And if you read it, one of the people that's been the most vocal doesn't even live in our community. That takes a lot of nerve. Now, it's they have a right to do what they want, obviously, when they're out there, but they shouldn't have the right in here. This is for the people of Apple Valley. Now, I also have a couple of questions and a couple of brief statements. I haven't heard anything addressed about annexation. I've always heard about that in the past, and I'd like, when I get done speaking, to have somebody address that. We also have some lawsuits that are in progress right now. If we were to disintegrate the community, excuse me. Yeah, disincorporate the community. What would happen to those lawsuits? Would the county pick them up for us? Would the town itself have to carry them on? You know, what would happen in those instances? The water company. About 2 years ago, I heard people saying, well, you know, the water's not up to date, it's going to start costing us. And I sat in the back and I didn't say a word and I never saw a thing, said anything to anybody. And my insurance rates doubled this year. And a lot of people before me, their rates are doubled. And some of you people that don't think it's going to happen, I didn't. It's going to happen. And you're going to end up, if you don't like paying taxes, it's just a different tax. Another $500 you're sending for water that the insurance company is just going to put in their pocket. That's it. Thank you.
My name's Kevin River. I live on Rome Way. I have one comment on the deal with the signs and stuff. The people that got thrown in jail had several warnings because I was standing right there when they had a couple of them. In fact, I was standing right next to the mayor when the guy... I said, in fact, I was standing right next to the mayor when the sheriff warned several people that time about the signs. So there was warnings given several times that I know of. Thank you.
Jack Davis, 1303 East Big Pinion Lane, South Zion Estates. We all know that we're a democracy. There's a process that we, living in the state of Utah, have to follow in setting up a community. It's not just freelance. There's a process. Get out and vote.
My name's Renee Hanson, 1767 North Apple Valley Drive. Right there? Okay, well, I can hear it. First of all, I'd like to congratulate the mayor and the council for the dignity that they have put out throughout all this ordeal. They have really had some tough times. Thank you. That's nice. Okay, is this better?
Yes.
Okay. I have a couple of questions. What will happen, Commissioner, if they disincorporate this and this building and all of our stuff goes to the school? What will they do with it?
I think we need to visit with them to find out. But there's a little bit of precedence, and let me share that with you. This building right here was originally purchased by the fire district. I think it was the Smithsonian Fire District. And when it was disbanded, after this community incorporated, we still had to follow the state statutes that prescribed the distribution of properties. And it went to the school district, only the school district, of course, had no interest in depriving the people of Apple Valley of this particular building. And so I'm not sure what type of a quiet title action they did, but it transferred quite seamlessly through the school district and to the community. Could be different people and a different process, and so I hate to speak for the school district. I can't do that, but I really don't think that the school district is out to try to build this into a school.
Thank you. Mayor, where did you find the ordinances that you have for this town? How did they come about?